A huge moo to the herd and welcome to our playthrough of Rise of Industry. This game is in early access and we're currently playing on release 6.1, which brought a lot of quality of life changes. Made the game not easier but more intuitive. So it's early access. I've played through quite a few times. I've done a few live streams of this. I have to say it's very enjoyable. It's a game that you can easily lose a lot of time in and not even realise. So with the release of 6.1 and all of the quality of life improvements, I thought I would give the game a go to reach the end game, which is to build a car. So that's the purpose of this walkthrough. So we'll get started. We're going to career mode and we've got various settings. Road orientation, which side will the cars be driving on? Well, I live in the UK, so let's leave it on left. Town name generator, England, I'll leave that as it is. Map size, medium. Seems reasonable to me. I don't really want a huge map, a medium-sized map will do. Town industries. Now, this is an interesting setting. So, basically, if you set this to off, the towns will just be there waiting for you to serve all of their needs, which might be something you want to do. However, it does mean that you are solely responsible for the growth of those towns, which puts a lot of pressure on you to actually make the game, make all the industries that they require and let them grow. However, if we've got the setting to on, it means they'll go out and they will make their own stuff, and that will allow the towns to grow. Growing towns means more opportunities for you to sell stuff, which means more money for you. So we're leaving that on for now. Now, I did speak to one of the devs a couple of days ago on the Discord, and they were saying that actually they're going to leave this on as a permanent option, because a feature that will be coming very soon is the ability to buy AI buildings. So may as well get used to the towns creating their own industries now, rather than leaving it off and then all of a sudden, patch down the line, we're going to be, oops, oh, they're already there. River generation, we just have two rivers, I don't need any more than that. We're going to let the game difficulty be set to experience. This is the default experience difficulty, so we'll just leave it at that. I don't see any reason to reduce it down. I've got a good enough feel of the game so that we can try it a bit more difficult. Basically what this means is it sets our score to 100%. So we're not going to lose any score. I mean, if we go down to newbie, you'll see that it drops down to 35% of our overall score. And if we go to veteran, it bumps it up to 150, and startups 245%. So we'll leave it at experienced. So we'll hit play and let's get our map generated. And here we are. So the very first thing that it asks us to do is to place our headquarters. Now, what that means, and if I zoom out the map, you'll see that we've got all these different towns and planning offices around the map. Now, each of these towns has their own zone. You can see by the little border that's just around the edge. And each of those zones has its own resources. Now, the first place you drop your headquarters gives you full access to all of the resources within that zone. If you want to then branch out into other zones, you have to buy either a logistics permit or a full building permit before you do that. So it's quite important to have a good idea of where you want to start. Now, if we click on a town and then click on the region, you'll see that this gives a list of all the resources that that region has. So for instance, Gillingham has fish, oil, sand, water and wood. It's a good starting place. Whoops, wrong key again. If we go to the Bodmin Planning Office, that has coal, fish, iron ore, sand, water and wood. One thing to note about the planning offices, which you will find, they have no shops. So consequently, it's great. Yeah, I've got all of these resources, but you've got nowhere to sell it, and which means you then have to transport all your goods to a nearby town, which adds costs, etc. If we look at Brandon, what have they got? They've got copper, fish, gas, oil, sand, water, wood. That's a good variable mix there. And Worsted, what have we got here? We've got coal, fish, iron, oil, sand, water, and wood. Seems a good option there. What else have we got? Byland. Again, fish, sand, water, wood. So, reasonable thing. Oh, I've got corn. What have we got here? Ooh, this one's interesting. Copper, fish, gas, oil, sand, water, wood. So we've got some interesting choices. So what resources are we looking for? Well, the other thing you can look at is the shops in town. Now, every single town will have a farmer's market and a hardware store. Here they are. And if you click on either of those, you'll see the goods they're actually after. So for instance, Chillingham wants vegetables, wants milk, wants apples, wants berries, cocoa, hops, chicken, wheat. They also want oil, wool, sand, cotton, raw rubber, wood, gas, and coal. Okay, so with that in mind and the goods that they have, so we know that they've got oil, so we could sell them oil. They've got sand, yep, water, well, no one wants water, and wood. All right, great, so that's no problems at all. So we could do that. Now, the larger towns, in this case Chillingham, will also have an additional store. In this case, they have the liquor store. Now, what this means is we could look at more profitable items because they're more complex. So, for instance, Chillingham's after wine, brandy, vodka, hard cider, beer, and barley whiskey. That sounds interesting. No, we could do that. Now, our purpose initially is to grow whichever town we set up in. Reason being is the bigger they are, more of these shops will appear. So if I go to, just as an example, Brandon, you'll see that they've only got farmer's market and hardware store, and these are the items they need in them. Their population is 250,000. Now, when they reach 100,000, they'll get an additional shop. And then every increment of 100,000 after that will be an additional shop. So for instance, Chillingham's now at 108,000. The minute that reaches 200,000, then we'll get an additional shop in there. We make the towns grow by providing the goods that they want. More goods we provide, the quicker they grow, I think. And with that, the more opportunities for us to sell. So I'm going to set my... Oh, I'm just going to make one change quickly to the audio controls. I don't want to blow my ears out, which happened on a previous playthrough. Alright, let's go back to the game. Alright, so I'm going to drop my headquarters in Chillingham. Now, an important thing to bear in mind with all the buildings, they must be connected to a road. That's their route of transport, or method of transport. So, as you can see on my headquarters, there's a little road tab there. To align that, you just press the R key to rotate. Even tells you on the screen. So we're going to just pop this in here. Okay, a big flourish to say we've built our first headquarters. Now, as part of the start of the game, you get X amount of money loaned to you. When we go to the loan screen, you'll see our starter loan is for $10 million. Its payment period is 120 months, and our monthly payment is 83.3k. So that means that we'll be paying back $83,000 every month. Now, the loan repayments don't kick in, as I recall, until year 3. So you've got a couple of years to actually get your basic industry set up and get yourself operational. So it's a good opportunity to just get yourself grounded. So what are we going to do? Well, let's have a look at Chillingham and see what they need. Right. I'm going to just start with the basics ones. We could start doing... I suppose we could actually start making wine. I mean, it's more profitable if you look at that. items we've got set up here. So for instance, if I was to sell vegetables and I was able to provide the full amount of vegetables to Gillingham, I'd make 4.46k every 15 days. That's not bad. However, if I was to set up a wine industry, I'd be making 91.8k every 15 days. That sounds more like what I want to try. So we're going to start a bit big. So what do we need for wine? Relatively simple. We need grapes. Okay. They're produced at an orchard and require water. Seems like it's relatively easy. And we produce the wine in a brewery and distillery. Okay. So first thing I want is farms, right? Orchard. Oh, my orchard is locked. That's strange. Why is my orchard locked? Well, it's because I haven't researched it yet. And this gives us a good opportunity to go into research. So if I go into my tech tree, you'll see here is a big tech tree and the subcategories down the side. So food, livestock, drinks, carpentry, liquor, paper mill, textile, and so on. Liquor, right. So we want to make wine. Grapes, wine. Now at the start of the game you get 3 unlocks. And as it says up there, they're only for the first and second row. Right, so if I'm going to produce wine, what do I need? I need grapes. Click that. Unlocks that. And I want wine. Also unlocked. Done. Do I need anything else? I don't think so. Right, so if I can now go back to my thing. Oh, look, I've got my orchard. Now, what does my... If I just go back into the tech tree... not tech tree, sorry. If I go back into the recipe book... Grapes. What do grapes require? Grapes require water. So, I thought it'd be a bit trickier than just drop some grapes down. So, the very first building we need to build is our water siphon. Oh look, a nice batch of water over here. I think what we'll do is we'll drop our water siphon in this area here. And we'll pop you just about there. See the big circle around the buildings? This is the owner area. Now, with these gatherers, they will have harvester modules. Those harvester modules need to be within this circle. So bear that in mind when you're dropping the main building down. For something like the water siphon, it's not too much of a problem, but things like the coal mine and the copper mine, the harvesters are actually significantly larger. So you want to make sure that you've got the right area. So they just drop you down here. And you see these green squares light up? That's where we can pop our gatherers. So we're going to pop one here, another here, and finally one here. Now, as I was saying about roads, everything needs to be connected to the road. So I'm just going to draw a road down to here and connect that up. So now everything's connected. Let's move on to logistics. So one of the things that you can do is if I go into the water siphon and click on destinations, I can choose where I want to send the water. So I can send it to various logistics stores, I can send it to commercial venues, anywhere that needs it. Now this is great, so if for instance our vineyards for grapes, we could ship the water straight to the vineyard and it would just go there. That's fine to start off with, but it can be a bit tricky. So one of the things that they introduced in the RC6, I think it was, Alpha 6, was the automated warehouse. Now what that does is all goods within its catchment area will be delivered to the warehouse and it will automatically send goods to those factories that require it. It really simplifies the process. So one of the things I'm going to do is I'm going to drop a warehouse down. So we're going to a warehouse, it's under the logistics buildings. There's our warehouse. Now if I zoom out, you'll see this has got a huge catchment area. As I said before, any building within there will automatically deliver its goods to the warehouse. So you want to make sure that your catchment area is big enough to cover all the buildings that you want. So we're just going to drop you onto the road. And one thing I am going to need to do is I'm going to need to connect my road up. Otherwise there's going to be no route, and that's what that red arrows just appeared, saying that there was no route to the warehouse. Now if I go back to my water siphon and go to destinations, you'll see it's gone into auto mode, and it says it can deliver all the water to warehouse 1 in range. There it is. Brilliant. So we've now got water which will be produced from our water siphon. So we want to start we want to start growing some grapes. So go to our farms, go to orchard. There's our first grape farm. Okay, so again, big circle around it, that's where your harvesters are going to be. So I want to just pop you, I want to try and get it in roughly in line. So I'm going to pop you there. And we'll put our first field, if you want. I know there's a proper name for it, but I can't remember what it is. Great. And we just want to connect that up to the road. Oop, click the right one. There. Now we're now connected. Now, as you can see from this orchard requires 2 water per field. Now I have 3 fields, so that means I need 6 water every 30 days. My siphon's going to be producing 3 every 10 days. So that's 9 every 30 days. So that's enough water to fill the orchard's demands. So we're going to just start the game. It's currently in pause. And off we go. What this will do is the water siphons will start pumping, and you can see the progress bars here. And once they've done their 10-day cycle, the water will be delivered from our little siphons into the main one, which will then ship it to the warehouse. And then from the warehouse, trucks will come out and deliver it to the orchard. Now, as you can see, I've got dirt roads everywhere, which actually slow down the transport. So I'm going to use my final free unlock. Go to logistics and just unlock urban roads. This makes the travel a bit quicker, and you can see we can just upgrade all of these roads. I have to say I unlock these more from a point of view I can't stand seeing the dirt roads, but it does benefit the game as well. It's not just aesthetics. Okay, so how are we getting on with our water siphon? We're almost finished, and if I zoom in we can see the trucks. Yep, off they go. And they're going to deliver the water to here. In it goes. Meanwhile, we've still got more water being produced. And you will now see several trucks come out. If we click on them, they're going from the water pump. Nope, wrong one. If I click on that one, that's better. It's actually now delivering water to my warehouse. You can see it's going from the water siphon to the warehouse. Stay. Thank you. One thing you can do, and I find this really handy, is if you press the Alt key, you'll see that my water siphon is producing water and it's green, so it's actually active. Brilliant. But my orchard isn't producing any grapes, and you can see it's got that grey background. But you can also see, hey-ho, we've got some lorries going out to collect water. Now, how much water have I got sitting in the warehouse? 3 units. So that means I can provide enough water for 1 field. As you recall from what we said before, we need 2 water per field. Okay, so we'll let that tick over. Meanwhile, we'll go back to our Chillingham. Now we want to be producing wine, which is fine, but can we sell anything in the interim? Well, not really, because I'm producing grapes, but there isn't any market for them in Chillingham. So what we are going to do is we're going to have to focus on producing enough wine to support the needs of Chillingham. And if I go to liquor store, they need 2 every 15 days, which means they need 4 every 30 days. Okay, seems reasonable enough. So if I go to my factories, and we'll see we've got our brewery and distillery is unlocked. Let's just lock the factory down. Let's spin it around, and I'm getting dizzy looking at it. Alright, I'm going to leave it right next to the warehouse for the time being. Okay, so what do we need? We need 6 grapes for wine, and it takes 50 days to produce wine. Okay, so if I need 6 grapes to produce 3 wine, and how many wine do I need? 2 every 15 days. So that's 3 every 50 days. Nah, it's not going to be a great deal. So we're going to need to probably put more in. My orchard is now producing... Right, that says 2 every 30 days per field. So if I've got 3 fields, that's going to be 6 every 30 days. Sorry, brain's really slow today. So that's going to be 6 every 30 days. Okay, so if I need 6, that's going to produce... That's going to give me enough to produce 1 unit of wine. So I'm going to need more fields. Okay. Well, that was a quick intro into this game. We've got a couple of things to finish off before I end this video. First of all, I'm going to name our map Hoffy. No, that's not right. Okay, so just a recap of what we've started. We've got our water siphon in place and our orchard growing grapes. We have our distillery, which requires grapes to turn into wine. Our goal initially is to produce enough wine to get the residents of Chillingham so drunk that they will forget about everything else and just focus on growing the population. I'll leave that to your imagination as to how they're going to do that. So in our next episode, we'll look at getting more wine delivered, and we'll look at some of the research we're going to be doing. If you've got any comments, please leave them in the comments section. If you liked the video, please give it a like. If you disliked, again, give it a dislike. I'm open to any feedback. And if you want to see more, please feel free to subscribe. And that just leaves me to say thank you very much for watching, and I hope you'll join me again soon.